Here we are the day before Christmas, a good time to take stock of some indicators of Americans' religion and religiosity. Of course, Christmas is a major Christian holiday, one of the two major Christian holidays, along with Easter. And we find, looking at our data, that America does in fact remain a predominantly Christian nation. Now, our overall estimation of what percent of Americans identify with the Christian religion depends a little on which of our various polls we look at, but I would estimate that about 3/4, 75, maybe up to 77% of Americans identify with a Christian religion. About half of Americans are Protestant or some other non-Catholic Christian faith, and another 23, 24% are Roman Catholic. About 2% are Mormons, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Now, does that mean that 1/4 of Americans identify with a non-Christian religion? Not so, because we have about 17, 18% of Americans who don't identify with any religion, the so-called religious nuns, as we call them. And so that reduces down to only about 5, maybe 6%, again, depending on how we do the definitions of Americans who explicitly identify with the non-Christian faith. Another couple of important indicators of religiosity: 56% of Americans say that religion is very important in their daily lives. That's very important. That's been up and down over the years. You might think that Americans are less religious now than they have been in the past, but actually that's not the case. There were times back in the late 70s and the 80s when only 52, 53% of Americans said that religion was very important. Now that's come up some since then. It was higher actually a decade or two ago. It's down a little, but as I just mentioned, actually, more Americans say religion is important now than have at times in recent decades. Church attendance: about 38, 39% of Americans said they attended church in the last 7 days. That's our classic Gallup measure. That's clearly way lower than it was in the 1950s in the Eisenhower administration, when in recent history Americans were by far more religious than at any other time that we've measured. However, if we go back to the late 30s and into the 40s, we find actually about the same number of Americans attended church then as now. 41% of Americans in 1939 said they had been to church in the last 7 days, and 37% of Americans back in 1940 said they had attended church in the last 7 days. So this number goes up and down, but by no means do we have a straight linear decrease in church attendance among Americans. The number has fluctuated over the years and is no lower now than it was back in the late 30s and early 40s, although it has been higher at times in between. At this Christmas season, 2013, an update for you on Americans' religion. I'm Dr. Frank Newport, Gallup Editor-in-Chief.